The Library of Alexandria's journey was not without its challenges, and the first significant setback came during the tumultuous period of the Roman Civil War. In 48 and 47 BCE, Julius Caesar found himself embroiled in the Alexandrian War, a conflict that would have far-reaching consequences for the Great Library. As Caesar fought to secure his position in Alexandria, he ordered his troops to set fire to the enemy's ships in the harbor. However, the flames spread beyond their intended targets, engulfing parts of the city. Ancient sources, including Plutarch and Dio Cassius, recount that this fire reached the shores and destroyed many buildings, potentially including parts of the library or its contents. The extent of the damage to the Library of Alexandria during this event remains a subject of debate among historians. Some argue that the entire library was destroyed, while others suggest that only a portion of the collection, perhaps stored in the warehouse facilities near the harbor, was lost. Regardless of the exact scale of destruction, this event marked a significant turning point in the library's history. In the aftermath of the fire, efforts were made to rebuild and replenish the library's collection. Mark Antony, in a gesture of reconciliation and support for Cleopatra, is said to have gifted the library with 200,000 scrolls from the rival library of Pergamum. This act not only helped to restore some of the lost knowledge, but also symbolized the continuing importance of Alexandria as a center of learning, even as political power shifted towards Rome. The Caesarean fire marked the beginning of a long period of gradual decline for the Library of Alexandria, punctuated by episodes of destruction and renewal. As the political landscape of the Mediterranean world changed, with Rome ascending into unrivaled dominance, Alexandria's position as the preeminent center of scholarship began to wane. One significant event in this decline occurred in 273 current era, during the reign of Roman Emperor Aurelian. In suppressing the revolt of Queen Zenobia of Palmyra, Aurelian's forces damaged the royal quarter of Alexandria, including the Mouseion. While the library itself may have been spared direct destruction, the damage to the surrounding intellectual infrastructure and the general instability of the period likely had a detrimental effect on scholarly activities. Perhaps the most dramatic episode in the library's later history came in 391 CE, with the decree of Theophilus, the Patriarch of Alexandria. Acting on the orders of Emperor Theodosius I, who had declared Christianity the official religion of the Roman Empire, Theophilus led a campaign to destroy pagan temples in the city. The Serapeum, a temple complex that may have housed a daughter library or annex of the Great Library of Alexandria, was demolished during this period. This event symbolized a broader shift in the intellectual and cultural landscape of the late Roman Empire. As Christianity gained prominence, many classical texts and areas of study fell out of favor and were actively suppressed. The destruction of the Serapeum, whether or not it housed a significant portion of the library's collection, represented a turning point in Alexandria's role as a bastion of classical learning. The early 5th century CE saw Alexandria still clinging to its reputation as a center of learning, but the character of scholarship had changed dramatically from the library's heyday. One of the last great scholars associated with the Alexandrian tradition was Hypatia, a mathematician, astronomer, and philosopher who taught at the Mouseion. Hypatia's life and work represented a continuation of the classical tradition of scholarship in Alexandria. However, her tragic death in 415 CE at the hands of a Christian mob symbolized the increasingly precarious position of secular learning in a world dominated by religious fervor. While Hypatia's death was not directly related to the destruction of the library, which had likely ceased to exist in its original form by this time, It marked the end of an era for Alexandrian scholarship. The final blow to whatever remained of the Library of Alexandria's legacy is often associated with the Arab conquest of Egypt in 642 CE. A popular account, first recorded several centuries after the event, tells of Caliph Omar ordering the destruction of the library's books, allegedly claiming that if they contradicted the Quran, they were heretical, and if they agreed, they were superfluous. However, most modern historians consider this account to be a later fabrication. By the time of the Arab conquest, the Great Library of Alexandria had likely ceased to exist in any recognizable form. The story of Caliph Omar's destruction seems to be more a reflection of later cultural tensions than an accurate historical account. Despite its physical destruction, the impact of the Library of Alexandria on human knowledge and the pursuit of learning cannot be overstated. The methods of scholarship developed there, from textual criticism to empirical scientific inquiry, laid the groundwork for much of Western academic tradition. The library's influence can be seen in the development of subsequent centers of learning, from the medieval universities of Europe to the modern research institutions of today. The ideal of a universal repository of knowledge, first embodied by the Library of Alexandria, continues to inspire projects like the Internet Archive and other digital library initiatives. Moreover, the story of the Library of Alexandria serves as a powerful reminder of both the fragility and the endurance of human knowledge. While the physical library may have been lost, many of the ideas and discoveries that originated there have survived through copies, translations, and the work of subsequent scholars building on Alexandrian foundations. In recent years, the spirit of the ancient library has been revived with the opening of the Biblioteca Alexandrina in 2002. This modern institution aims to recapture the essence of its ancient predecessor, serving as a center for learning, cultural exchange, and the preservation of knowledge in the digital age. The Library of Alexandria, from its ambitious beginnings under the Ptolemies to its gradual decline and destruction, represents a pivotal chapter in the history of human learning. Its rise exemplified the power of concentrated scholarly effort and royal patronage, while its fall serves as a cautionary tale about the vulnerability of knowledge to political, religious, and social upheavals. Yet, perhaps the most enduring legacy of the Library of Alexandria is not the specific texts it once held, but in the ethos it represented. The idea that human knowledge is a collective treasure to be gathered, preserved, and expanded upon continues to drive scholarly and scientific endeavors to this day. As we reflect on the Library of Alexandria, we are reminded of the timeless value of learning and the ongoing human quest to understand our world. In this sense, the spirit of Alexandria lives on in every library, laboratory, and classroom where knowledge is cherished and the boundaries of understanding are pushed ever forward.